Hey, how's it going? It's your challenger coach Adam Moriarty Isles here with our newest Mobalytics tier list video for patch 9.17. So without waiting further, let's jump right into the giveaway and desktop app announcement. We're proud to announce that Mobalytics desktop app is now officially available for download, which is great because I've been using that thing for a while now in beta. It has all the powerful features you're used to from the browser version, along with some new exclusive ones such as the live companion, which gives you pick and ban recommendations based off your playstyle and the meta at champ select. Best part though is the ability to import your runes and builds directly into your client. The desktop app also marks the long-awaited return of our post-game feature. Now at the end of your most recent games, you'll receive cool badges like Bloodthirsty, which I get a lot when I play Eve due to the amount of kills I get, and Visionary, which is a badge I don't get as much on Eve because I don't ward that much on her. You'll also be able to see what new records you got after the game. Nothing better than losing a game in 12 minutes and then seeing a new record pop up for fastest loss brighten up your day. Finally, in celebration of our desktop app, we have another awesome giveaway for you. For our grand prize, we are giving away a collector's edition box, which includes Mobalytics jerseys with your summoner name, a Mobalytics hoodie, those are super comfy by the way, 1-year Mobalytics premium subscription, stickers, a pin, and more. For second and third place, we'll also be giving away hoodies and year-long premium subscriptions. To download our desktop app and enter our giveaway, check out the description below. And now let's actually jump right into the tier list. Kayle and Asol's mini reworks have gone through, so like normal, we won't be ranking them for this list. My gut says that Asol is actually getting a nerf, but Kayle will probably stay in B tier. For our starting S tier roster in top lane, we have Garen, Malphite, Nasus, Urgot, Yorick, Kled, Alawi, and Singed. Now, we don't actually have too many changes this time around since patches are lighter pre-worlds ever since the Juggernaut fiasco, so let's get right into my pick of the patch, Pantheon. So, I won't lie to you, he currently sucks and has some pretty bad stats to back up that claim, with a pretty much 46% win rate and 11% play rate. But Pantheon has some hope, do not worry. He received some hotfix changes that makes his stun more reliable, and he's receiving a really strong buff this patch, allowing his tap Q to crit, which is huge for dueling and even wave clear. Also, after experimenting with him a bit, I think that people should try out Titanic Hydra on him, as it seems to suit him a lot more than the old Pantheon. This means that once people get used to his kit, get the right builds going, and his buffs come through, I predict his win rate should land around 50.50% win rate, making him a decent B tier choice. But wait, that's not very high. Why choose Pantheon to be on the list over other 50% win rate champions? Short answer is, he's good looking and cool, so his play rate is massive. Mostly kidding, it's more so that I expect his win rate to continue to climb due to his new kit having a lot more skill expression than the old one. Important question here. Do you hate laning versus Darius, Renekton, Riven, or Jax? Top laners who main those champions hate me because I found one easy trick to counter them, and for the low price of hitting that sub button, you too can learn this secret. It's actually just picking Quinn. Her overall stats are pretty decent with a 51.67% win rate and a 2% play rate, but she happens to counter each one of the champions I mentioned above. She has a really easy time bullying them during the laning phase because her Volt can negate any engage attempts that they try while having the range and poke advantage to keep them down during the laning phase. My favorite is to use Volt to interrupt Riven's third Q because every time I do it, I can see a little piece of that Riven player's will to live disappear until they tilt all in me, forgetting I have Ignite advantage, and then they die and flame me in all chat for it. I definitely recommend trying her out yourself because even Khan from SKT used her to beat Renekton in their recent LCK playoff game. For the starting S tier roster for the High-ELO top lane list, we have Kled, Akali, and Jaximus Prime. After the buffs to his QCD in the last patch, Jax leaped up to S tier as one of the premier carry top laners in the meta with a 54% win rate and 10% play rate. Who knew if you buffed an already strong champion to have an easier time in lane, the phase of the game he is supposedly supposed to be weaker at, that he would once again return to S tier. Jax is a champion that is supposed to ramp up over time and have a weak to average laning phase, but he currently is pretty strong in the early game and has some nice meta matchups like versus Aatrox, Aurelia, Camille, giving him an easy time to hit his Sojin power spike and then 1v9. People are always talking about like what if Jax had a real weapon, but in my opinion he's already got one and it's Spear Sojin because that thing's broken on him. As for the rest of the list, we got Riven dropping down to B tier faster than Riven mains would drop everything they're doing to buy a new Riven skin. The Q nerf hit her hard, dropping her from a 54.55% win rate and 10.7% play rate to a 48.72% win rate and a 7.1% play rate. Just look at that 3% drop in play rate from all those fake Riven fans. Next up, we got Shen moving from B tier to A tier thanks to his buffs. His laning is much stronger and you'll likely see him at Worlds just like with Karma moving to B tier, but at least Shen won't get booed every time we see him on stage like Karma does, right? In the jungle, our S tier roster will be none other than Vi, Amumu, Master Yi, Jax, Volibear, and a new face, Nocturne. Ever since his clear speed and base stat buff, he's been doing extremely well on the normal list with a 52.39% win rate and a 4.9% play rate. He's also got some pretty nice matchups in terms of dueling into some of the other S tier champions like Vi, Amumu, and Jax early on. This is due to his spell shield negating their major form of CC, followed by that insane attack speed steroid combined with lethal tempo, giving him a lot of DPS to destroy them in the early game. For his build, I highly recommend going Warrior into Dusk into GA, then after that I honestly don't care because it doesn't matter much. Now, I should mention, he is on the lower end of S tier and tends to do worse as you go up the ladder, so we'll continue to monitor his performance. Our only other chance of the list will be Flaress' pick of the patch going to A tier. Pantheon? Really, bro? How original copying my pick of the patch. We're gonna have to settle this the only way real men know how. 1v1. No items. Final destination 3 stock. Wrong game. 1v1. Pantheon. Same items. 1 PM PST on the Mobalytics stream. Don't forget to post in the comments section who you think's gonna win, why, and if you want me to do more of these 1v1 grudge matches. Let's get some facts straight about Pantheon Jungle. He is one of the worst junglers in the game with a 42.58% win rate, but a staggering 7.4% play rate. What's even more impressive is he has a 23% ban rate, meaning that people are actually banning him to not end up on their team. Wanna know why I know that? Because that's what I do. Ain't nobody want that garbage on their team right now. But with his recent buffs, Flaress believes that Pantheon is going to be an absolutely busted pick after the change to his tap Q adding the execute effect. This will make Pantheon's clear even faster, as well as easily annihilating the enemy jungler or enemy laners with his engage combo, which is mentioned in Flaress' jungle pathing video in the description below. In the High-ELO Jungle list, our starting S tier roster will be Nunu, Taliyah, Kha'Zix, and Rengar. Somewhat of a fan favorite at the moment, we will be moving Echo from B tier to A tier. Those buffs to his E last patch, but more importantly the ones to his RCD, really gave him a lot of playmaking potential in the mid to late game, allowing him to try more risky picks and engages without having to worry about his ult being down for the next fight because it's just up all the time now. This allows him to be a strong scaling skirmish AP champion from the jungle without having to worry about harsh mid lane matchups like Kassadin. He also has the option to build off tank, giving him a lot of versatility in terms of team comps he can fit into, making him a solid choice even at higher levels of play. Going into Worlds, I feel like this is a good sign for Team Liquid. In situations where Jensen asks for Echo, Xmithie can just be like, nope, decline the trade, take it into the jungle, as it could be a good flex pick and competitive. Other than that, we got the additions of both Nocturne and Pantheon in B tier, as their global ults can be used to put out a lot of pressure in the early mid game and enable sideline split pushers to play more aggressively. It's a shame they both really suck late game at the moment, or they would be placed higher. Starting off the mid lane list, our S tier roster will be Malzahar, Vel'Koz, Ahri, Fizz, Swain, and Diana. Our only change to the list will actually be Isaac's pick of the patch, LeBlanc. He says that LeBlanc has been seeing more play in solo queue and competitive play because of her crazy good pick nature, especially in a meta where true tanks see less play compared to carries or bruiser type champions. He says that you should max RWQE, and then for items you should go Luden, Sork Boots, Oblivion Orb, Stopwatch, Void/Deathcap, Zhonya's, and then Morello's. Try to set up ganks as often as possible because you have amazing gank assist, especially at 6. Double chain combo is an extremely good way to keep someone pinned down for a long period of time while dealing some really good damage. All you gotta do is W into range, hit the E, then R, then Q. If you do this while your jungler's around, the enemy laner's probably going to die. Outside of LeBlanc, I would like to talk about a champion recommendation I have for mid lane, which is Malzahar. This guy has a pretty big stigma attached to him, making his play rate a lot lower than what it should be for what his power level is. He's got a 53.46% win rate and a 4.9% play rate, which is low for how easy he is. He is one of the strongest control mages for this meta because of how well he does into mobile melee champions like Akali or Fizz, but he also scales into a monster team fighter. He also happens to be an amazing pick for off-role players or for when nothing else seems to work for you. Malzahar was famously used by Crown to win a world championship over Faker after he reportedly lost to Faker in scrims so many times that after Faker smashed him with mid Ezreal and got a pentakill, he got so tilted he just went to bed, and then the team decided to only let him play Malzahar against Faker. So if you need a clutch consistent champion to win your promos, go with Malzahar. Win with pride. Show all those Faker wannabe mid laners how you outplay them with just one button. No shame. Starting off our mid lane High-ELO S tier roster, we have Fizz, Talon, Katarina, and Akali. Yep, we got a lot smaller of an S tier roster this time around as we slightly overvalued some of them last patch. Ahri, Cassiopeia, and Syndra are all going to move down to A+ tier as they are incredibly strong champions in this meta for solo queue, but the current S tier roster just 1v9s way more consistently than them. Qiyana also dropped from S tier to A tier, but mostly due to her nerfs, which were much needed. She had a 52.43% win rate, 9.6% play rate, a 62% win rate in competitive with around 70 games, and a disgustingly high ban rate of 46% in solo queue. This champion is so unfair to play against in mid lane that people actually have to drag Renekton down away from top lane just to have a chance of beating her in lane. Her trading patterns in lane are incredibly hard to avoid, and her ult is far too impactful in river fights or jungle fights, which is, you know, most of the map. So thank you for nerfing that ability, CD. She would have for sure dominated the world's meta if these nerfs didn't come in, but we'll see if she still does or not. Lastly, Aurelia and LeBlanc drop down to B tier due to matchup issues in mid lane, making them far less likely to stomp lane. You'll still see them in competitive play though, as they have really good gank assists, but in solo queue, relying on your jungler is not a consistent strategy, just like how relying on me not to have technical difficulties on stream is a terrible bet. The bot lane starting S tier roster will be none other than Jinx, Jhin, and Draven. We got 2 changes to the list this time around, the first being Tristana moving down from A tier to B tier. Though she can have some nice pop-off moments in Snowball and lane when her support is on point, she is terribly inconsistent due to being useless in losing situations. If her support is worse than the enemy support, she will struggle to trade in lane and last hit under tower. This makes it so that she misses her item power spikes, giving her terrible mid-game damage output until she reaches 3 items. She also has Tristana syndrome, and for those of you who don't know what it is, it's kinda like Vayne spotting or Lee syndrome, but at a random point in the game, whether ahead or behind, Tristana will leap in and gamble the entire game on one random engage, further adding to her instability as a champion. Zuna did it, Doublelift did it, Cody Dunn does it, and you probably do it too. Something about that champion just makes people lose their sanity. Moving on to our second change, we got Huge's pick of the patch Lucian going to A tier. He says that Lucian has been out of the meta for a while now, ever since he received some slight nerfs while other ADCs received incredible buffs. In 9.17, Lucian is receiving a buff to his base AD which will help him get some extra early game damage. This won't launch him into S tier or anything like that, but early game champions gain large benefits from small buffs by hitting breakpoints to let them snowball. This will let Lucian gain a gold lead in the early game and allow him to close out before he gets outscaled. If you were a Lucian player before, pick him up again and try him out. If you're new to Lucian though, you may find yourself needing a couple extra games to pick him up, but he's fun, so it's fine. The bot lane High-ELO S tier roster will be Xayah, Kai'Sa, Draven, and that's right, Vayne. Vayne's popularity and win rate are pretty strong at the moment, with a 51.35% win rate and a 7.1% play rate, and it should continue to rise, which is why we placed her in S tier. The reason for this is outside of Draven, her matchups in the current meta are pretty good. Xayah is neutral, but she has winning matchups into ADCs like Kai'Sa, Ezreal, and Sivir. More importantly though, this meta does not include many long-range champions in either mid lane or bot lane. This meta for almost all lanes is about short-range melee skirmish champions, which is a perfect opportunity for Vayne to shine, as she will be able to self-peel and obliterate teamfights once she gets 2 items. The current situation and tech metas are probably the only time a champion like Vayne will do well, so take advantage of it while you can, because picking her outside of these 2 situations is kind of trolling. Next up in A tier, we have 2 new additions that really aren't from around these parts, Syndra and Yasuo. Both champions being shown to be powerful ball laners in the hands of G2 perks for competitive play are also performing well in solo queue, able to imply incredibly large amounts of pressure to regular marksmen in terms of wave priority and kill pressure. If you want to destroy lane, these are the champions you want to pick up as a bot laner, or I guess if your autofield is mid too. Last up, we got the support S tier roster with Janna, Brand, Soraka, Nami, and Pyke. Since this is a small patch, our only change will be Will's pick of the patch, Swain, going to A tier. He says that he reluctantly makes Swain his pick of the patch. Backstory for this is he wanted to make Zyra his pick of the patch for like the 17th time, but we denied him by an overwhelming majority in our council meeting. He says that while he may not be the strongest support around, his poke and ability to set up kills is something that shouldn't be underestimated in lane. Thanks to his Q poke and his pullback on his E/passive, Swain can be an incredibly harsh lane bully. With his Q target range increased in 9.15, he is now able to bully both passive and safe enemies who try and stand behind minions. Not only that, but because he builds AP and builds like a real carry, he's gonna be a true threat even from the support role, kinda like a Brand. Now, last video I mentioned that I wanted some help with finding some OP Zill plus melee champion combos. The one I like the most from the comments so far is the Zilean plus Malphite combo, and I've actually seen this one in solo queue perform pretty well. The pre-6 for this combo is definitely a little rough, but you can still do Malphite Q slow into double bomb. It's pretty decent, but once Malphite hits 6 early thanks to that Zilean XP bonus, he's gonna be easily one-shotting people in the bot lane just off one ultimate. Plus, Malphite can build even more AP than normal because he knows the Zilean can revive him with R when he goes in. This combo also has a hidden synergy, and that's that Malphite ult speed is actually determined by his movement speed, meaning if Zilean speeds him up, his ultimate becomes even more reliable to land. So feel free to try out this combo with a friend in a normal game first, because it might take a little bit to get used to how bad the pre-6 laning is. Last of all, we got the support High-ELO S tier roster coming in with Thresh, Rakan, Janna, and Pyke. Pyke is one of those champions that is feast or famine. Always has been, always will be, because that's just how he's designed. The problem with him right now though is that he only needs one meal to sustain himself for the whole match, which is why he is S tier. Screw up one skirmish and he gets a double kill with his ult, and he is now in a position to snowball until he carries the whole game. His new ult income is far too high, as shown by the fact that he can still be played mid lane with zero way to reliably farm or push, which is normally a requirement for a mid laner. This is why his ban rate is around 40%. It's not that he's going to win every game, but that leaving him in a match is a constant threat of him making it rain with one bad fight. He would be perfectly fine if they just adjusted his gold numbers from his ultimate. As for the rest of the changes, Nami, Soraka, and Brad all dropped from S tier for similar reasons as to why a lot of the mid lane S tier high-elo champions dropped to A tier. They just got crowded out by how powerful the current S tier roster is. Despite these champions being A+ and incredibly strong in their own right, able to carry games, there is a clear difference between what Pyke can do and what Nami can do to win a game. Thanks again for watching our tier list video for patch 9.17. Feel free to ask us any questions in the comment section below for us to answer in the next Q&A, and as always, be sure to check out mobalytics.gg.